Welcome back, everybody. There's no doubt that a fog machine can enhance your photos and your video. And I have this one here by LensGo. It's the Smoke S, and I'm very happy with it. And I'm also very happy to share it with you. So let's get into it. But before we get started, I've wanted one of these for a long time, so I did buy this with my own money, but this wasn't my first choice. However, it's the one that I ended up with, and I'm very happy with that. The first one that I wanted to go with was the Ulanzi FM01, and it was an absolute wreck. And I made a negative video on it, but it didn't quite represent the channel and myself because I got a little harsh with it, but it was very disappointing because I had it for one day and already broke the thing. Nice try, epic fail. It just comes down to build quality. And that's what we're going to talk about and focus on this one, because the Ulanzi one had this top cap, which serves as a heat shield that can easily just lift on and off, and it's not very secure. Well, that's a hot element under there, the tank itself, and we're going to talk about the proclivities of this thing, but you know, it was a very unsafe situation, and all I did was go from one room on the first day that I used it, went to my studio, grabbed it by the top portion of this lid right here. The bottom came off, the tank was attached to the bottom of the tank, and it fell to the floor and broke, and fluid went everywhere. It was a literally hot mess. I was genuinely ticked off about that. So I sent it back and I bought this one. And this was my second choice, but I'm glad that I did go with this one because it's a lot sturdier. For instance, the heat shield that goes on the top of it, I'm gonna go ahead and pull all the little parts and pieces off of it because this is the way it transports inside this hard back carry case. And the top of it screws off. So once you're wanting to change the fluid in your tank, then you can remove the lid, it screws on and off, and you have this little rubber stopper here that you fill your tank up with. But while you're using this, you want that heat shield back on because this thing can get very hot. Also with the Ulanzi, it had the USB-C port on the bottom of it and it stands upright. So what's that leave you? I mean, why wouldn't you put the USB port on the side? This does the same thing, USB ports on the bottom, but you don't want to tilt these things too often because they are fluid and they can leak out. Regardless of what you do, even when I did vape and I had, you know, probably one of the better tanks, it still leaked every once in a while. But they can get oily and sticky after a while. But don't get me wrong, with the Ulanzi, there were a few features on it that I did like a lot, and I like them actually better than this one. But if you can't use it, then why bother with it? So what you get here is you get a hard carry case to carry all of this stuff in. You get 6 bottles of fluid. We're going to talk about that too. You get this little diffuser cushion that goes over the ends of each one of these little tubes. Now you got less distance traveled with this smaller tube, obviously. Then you have some that you can bend in a direction that you can either put it here or here and, you know, get it in those obscure places. Don't even get any crazy ideas. And then you got this little tube right here that screws into the top of it, and you can put a little nozzle on it and then use the diffuser, or you can use just the diffuser and dispel all of your smoke fluid this way. And then you get a remote control, and it's just a simple infrared, cheap little remote control, but what else do you need? But like I said with the other one, why did they put the USB-C port on the bottom? That just doesn't make any sense, especially if you want it to maintain its upward position. And what I want to see in the future of one of these is actually get a little stand or something and be able to, or even 3D print one, and then just set it right down inside of it and have a little port that you could plug into it. I mean, you can make an adapter and everybody would go crazy over that because that's one of the biggest complaints about these things is the fluid that can get sticky and leak out over time. This charges in no time at all. I mean, it was under 30 minutes and I had this thing fully charged. And you can double click the button to create your smoke like so, and then you double click it again and it goes off, and you can just spread it around the room, and now you've got all that cool fog, and you know, you can really keep this on for quite a bit of time. Now, having that container that screws on and off like so is quite helpful. And then you get extra added assurance if you put this little tube on here and you screw it onto the top of it, because it actually screws into the tank itself, and it'll help maintain the security of that top lid, so you don't have to worry about grabbing it and this thing falling to the ground and breaking. So that was so disappointing. I really did infuriate me. Whatever, let it go, right? But some of the features that I was talking about with the Ulanzi over this one is it had a little fan inside of it that could change the velocity of the amount of smoke that comes out of it and the kind of density of the smoke. And you can adjust it to turn it up or down via the heat to assure, you get that desired result. With this one, you get smoke, period, hands down, just smoke, and it all comes out at one speed. And you double click it to turn it on and double click it to turn it off. Same with the remote here. I just only have to hit the remote at least one time, and then I hit it one other time and it'll stop doing that. And just by fiddling with this right now, my hands are oily and sticky, and the same thing with Ulanzi, and the same thing with vaping, because it's vegetable glycerol and polyglycol and distilled water all mixed in together. However, you're gonna wanna buy fluid, and you do not wanna buy it from LensGo or Ulanzi, or because you don't get as much, because there's a way you can make it yourself. And these are small little 12 milliliter bottles, and I've already used up one of them completely into that tank. And I've probably got a total of maybe 5 minutes on it, and it's half full total time, because you don't want to keep it on the whole time because the whole thing can overheat. But when you're buying it this way and you're spending maybe $25 on that amount of fluid, you can spend $25 on vegetable glycerol and some distilled water. I bought a 1 gallon thing of distilled water, and you do 3 parts of distilled water, 1 part of the vegetable glycerol, and over time, with just those 2 ingredients, you can make 21 times the amount of fluid and use in your fog machine versus buying it from them. I mean, you buy those things and you won't be buying, fog for a very, very long time. This thing has definitely unlocked my creativity, because I was the other day just playing with it, trying to make it look like I was had a vehicle overheat. Like if you're trying to make short films, or you're trying to amplify the light coming through a window and you want the fog to dissipate through it, all you have to do, and what I like to do, is once you disseminate your fog and you get it going, I have a little diffuser here, and a light diffuser, and then you can just shake it around the room, fan it. Heck, if you're a drone pilot or something like me, you could use a little, landing pad or something, anything that retracts, shoot, anything you can think of, but get that smoke disseminated throughout the room evenly, and it does stay around the room quite a bit of time. But with these attachments that come with it, if you screw this on here, and then you use your diffuser, or you use your little jet nozzle here, you have endless possibilities of what you can create. And I'd be curious to find out what you would be using this for, because I have used it for cooking videos. My wife has a crochet channel, for goodness sake, and to make her thumbnail more interesting, we just used some of this smoke, and she loved it. She liked the investment that I made in this fog machine, and she's already got a couple of ideas on what we can use this for. And what I used to use was this little spray can of fog, and it's aerosol. It's an aerosol, and it does come out a lot more even, but it doesn't stick around as long as a regular fog machine would. I know that creating thumbnails and having that little special look, or even product showcases, you're trying to step it up another level, then this is definitely something that you want to get your hands on, especially when they're under $100. I mean, they're really reasonable nowadays. You can get a sale. I've seen this one down as low as $78 on Amazon, and that was during the Prime Day sale. But I picked mine up for like $89, and very well worth it. And this is just really freaking cool. And you just double click here. I'm gonna send the smoke down. Try not to move the room around too much so you don't disturb the air, but look at that. That's freaking cool. And look, it's just sitting there on the table, and I can just poof. You can create all kinds of product reviews. So if you could combine the qualities of the Ulanzi FMO1 and then the Smoke S, you would have the ultimate fog machine. And I'm sure that's going to happen one day soon, because it always seems like they all get closer and closer together, that they're hard to distinguish amongst each other, like cameras and cars and trucks and fog machines and computers. I mean, they're getting very close. So we're all going to wind up at the peak of, perfection here one day. But until then, keep watching my videos. Make sure you subscribe, hit that like button, notification bell, and I will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.